Hello, welcome to our first WTF Wednesday. I'm Alex Glow with Hackster, and this is a much more informal segment where I'm going to talk about some stuff that I think is cool from this week, and maybe from a week or two ago. So, first off, I've been really interested in light painting lately, and particularly, so light painting being that thing where you have a camera set to take a long exposure. So the shutter stays open and exposing your film, or if you have a digital camera, capturing light for an amount of time while you have a light, say an LED or a flashlight or glow sticks or lasers or whatever, moving around in the frame. And you typically expose for a few seconds at a time, and you can draw stuff, you can draw around people, and you can, for example, capture cars. This is very commonly seen, for example, in night shots of cities where you'll see these streams of white and red lights going along, and those are cars, obviously. That's a long exposure picture. You'll also see it in some images of nature. So, for example, if you see an image of a waterfall and all the water looks beautiful and foamy and like really smooth and not really like water usually does at all, then that's probably a long exposure picture. And it's got this sort of dreamy quality to it. So I'm a huge fan of light painting. I've done this a bunch in the past, specifically for birthday parties. It's a great way to capture some beautiful art with your friends. And so recently I wanted to bring this into the 3D realm, because if you can create a 3D light sculpture, wouldn't that be amazing? You've probably heard, actually, of the sort of way around this right now, which is the HTC Vive headset for VR, which is being used with Google's Tilt Brush technology to create basically immersive 3D VR environments where you can wander around in someone's light painting. However, that's a really recent development, and I thought I'd pursue this in a more analog fashion. To start off with, though, here are a few Hackster projects that talk about light painting. Here's one that uses a drone called the Crazy Fly, and this person has attached it. Basically, it's got an LED ring on it, and they opened up their camera shutter and made it fly around in their bedroom. So you get these amazing, beautiful, atmospheric, ethereal images that look like magic. Oh yeah, pro tip. One time we did this with Roman candles around the 4th of July, which is not a great idea if you just don't point them at each other, okay? But if you take a long exposure of someone shooting off a Roman candle they're holding in their hand, then you get this image that makes them look like a wizard, which is amazing, like shooting fire out of a wand across the field or wherever you are. It's a really fun type of image. Then you have Jake Ingman's project, where he used the Pinocchio to paint data. So he's actually, you see how this clamshell pattern is achieved by using the accelerometer to modify what color the LEDs are while you're painting. And then you have things that are built for this, like the Blinky Pendant from Blinkinlabs. Issues. I think they've changed their URL. But it looks like this, and the LEDs flash really fast in sequence, basically like frames of a GIF, but it's linear. So when you swipe it across the camera, it's I'm getting weird faces from my colleague. I hope this is actually working. Alessandra's messing with me. So yeah, it works like frames of a GIF, and if you string them all in a line, right, you get a continuous image, sort of like a spectrograph. And so that's how you get sweet long exposure images like this, that can be any image you like. It's also used, the concept is also called persistence of vision, and it's used in things like the monkey lights that you see on bicycle wheels that go around and make an image. And finally we have this wand, which is like a really big Blinky pendant that is used for some magic. It looks like magic, that's all it is. Okay, so recently I wanted to take this into the analog world, so I got a Holga Twin image maker after Googling around for things that could do both long exposure and stereographic imaging, i.e. two lenses side by side. And check it out, it looks like a face! It's so cool! Maybe I should double check this is actually streaming. That'd be a good idea. Nope, it's going. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, this takes 35mm regular film, and you can control it in numerous different ways. There's bulb mode, which is your sort of long exposure mode. That means the shutter will stay open as long as you have the button depressed. Versus you also have normal mode for things that don't want to be blurry. And then you can expose one side at a time if you like, so that you could get two images side by side. And if you have them both open, that means you'll get a kind of 3D image eventually. And if you have only one at a time, then you can do interesting composites like these. And you've also got this adjuster at the bottom that tells you whether you want to expose it for bright light, bright sunlight, for cloudy days, etc. And so I can see actually it's rotating out different aperture sizes to capture more or less light based on that. And then finally you have this multi-exposure switch that allows you to push the shutter again for a single frame before you advance the film, which means that you can expose multiple things on top of each other. You don't want to do it too much or else you'll completely blow out your film, but you can get these cool let's see, doubled images. I'm not sure if this article is on lomography.com and is talking about the Holga, but you can get two images on top of each other like this right here. See how this dude has somebody's t-shirt and his face. I've taken a bunch of pictures with this, but I haven't yet been able to get them developed because getting analog film developed is apparently a vanishing art, especially even in San Francisco. It's nuts. But there are other faster ways that you can get into this as well. So it's not analog, it's very digital, but a way that you can do 3D images, simulate 3D with a smartphone is via the Seene app, which was recommended to me by Doc Pop. Or rather, he recommended it to Twitter and I saw it on there, but you know. And basically, you hold down the button and rotate your phone around, and it maps a few points to keep track of on the picture and uses it to create a depth map of the scene that you're viewing, which means that it creates a really little 3D model, essentially, of what you're seeing, and that enables you to rotate it around and get some false parallax, which is cool. So instead of having two eyes or two lenses side by side, you get one viewpoint that rotates, so you still get kind of that parallax. And we used this at Maker Faire recently, so if you didn't get to go, check out our blog post. It's just Hackster.io/blog. And my computer's being slow and complaining, sorry. But you can look at these in your browser and check out all the cool stuff that was there to see. Now, it works better on your phone, so it's a free app, which is amazing, and there's a couple of extra features that you can get if you do look at it on your phone. So this won't be very close up for you, but if you triple tap the image, then you actually get this very pixelated image showing all of the points that they mapped. And it basically turns it into this data visualization view of what they did with your photo, which is pretty amazing. Trying to not like my own thing. There we go. So that's right, you can also slot it into your cardboard and turn it into cardboard mode, essentially. So say I look at this robot image, and I say view in cardboard, and all of a sudden it's like this. And I can stick it in my cardboard VR viewer. This is a custom one that was made for the awesome VR Film Festival in San Francisco last year. And I'm hoping they'll do another one, but then you can look like an idiot from the future. Oh, that's so immersive. I'm so immersed. And it's also kind of glitchy, which is great because it shows you that you're really in the future, you know? Nothing really works right the first decade or so. So I'm really excited about that. And then finally, so this is the cardboard, right? This is just a highly branded version of the cardboard. But there's a new kid on the block. Brian May, who's basically my favorite human being of all time. Okay, you've heard of him. He is the lead guitarist for Queen, for one thing. But also, he went back and got his PhD in astrophysics, like decades after beginning it. A few years ago, he finally completed that. So he's obviously like halfway to being Buckaroo Banzai just from that alone. He advocates for animal rights. And anyway, the newest thing he's doing is he's founded the London Stereographic Society, or stereoscopic perhaps, I'm not sure. But stereoscopic company. And they've created the owl, which is an alternative to cardboard, and you can slide these little viewers in and out, so instead of having a fixed sort of focal range, you can customize it so that it's actually sharp every time you look at it, and you're not as likely to get headaches or whatever from looking at blurry, halfway 3D VR. And then plus, the other thing it does is it's all open, mostly. So instead of getting this sort of little vignette theater view, you get a really open view, and it's easy for other people to see what you're seeing. Plus, you can stick your fingers in there and mess around with the screen all you like instead of having a little window in the bottom here. So that's cool. I'd also like, since we're talking about it right now, to mention the coolest thing that I think he's made, which is the Red Special. It's a guitar that he built with his dad when he was a teenager. And it's an electric guitar, and it's got a wah whammy bar that has a knitting needle tip on it from his mom, and I highly recommend that you check out this Wikipedia page because it's super inspiring and awesome. So that's the owl, and finally, well, okay, quick interlude here. If you can put me in touch with Brian May, I really want to interview him about the owl and the Red Special, and probably just freak out and fangirl a little bit. So if you have a lead, put me in touch. Finally, check out this video that was just released. I think it was through Indiegogo. Either that or Kickstarter. Let's see. But anyway, it's a sweet vision of the future and how VR and immersive reality, synthetic reality, mixed reality, whatever you want to call it, this combination of real images from the world and superimposed virtual content, augmented reality, in other words, will be used and affect our culture in the future. It's 6 minutes long, so I'm not going to play it for you, but take a look, watch it through all the way to the end. It's fascinating and beautiful, and you can support the project via the links underneath the video. Alright, so that's all the cool stuff I've got for you today. Tune in next week for another WTF Wednesday, and I'm excited to hear what you'd like to hear about. So shoot us some comments, and keep in touch. Thanks.